and we are on broadcasting live on the block in Bragtown. Fortunate to have one of our school board members out here on the block. We've been out on the block giving out books. She's been helping me give out books and talk to people today. Alexandra
Valladares.
Valladares. That name always, you know, it's my tongue. It's my tongue. So she came out today. Peace, bro. She came out today, and she is joining us, giving out books today over in Bragtown. We've been on the corner, talking to people, talking to the community for a good conversation for about 2 hours. So I wanted her to shout you out and anything that's on her mind. There's a lot of stuff going on with the youth. So anything you want to say, and you know, it's an honor to have a member of our school board to take time out today to come into the community. You know, not just to sit in the office, not to sit in the meeting, but actually just come out to the community and talk to the people. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Reverend Paul Scott. I am just honored. I mean, I think the work is happening on the streets. You know, the work has to happen on the streets. We have to be available. We have to be out there. I'm really glad to be here. And one of the things that is in my heart is our youth. You know, I was sharing about, you know, a public health approach to gun violence and the event that's happening on June 17th from 1 to 4 p.m. That's happening at 806 Clarendon Street. And it's happening at a church in a fellowship hall. And, you know, there's going to be tabling and all that. But I recognize that, you know, an event on June 17th from 1 to 4 p.m. is not the solution. And it's not going to be the end all. It's not going to be a magic wand. We have to stay put. We have to continue to reach our youth, to continue to be real. Our youth know when things are not real. They know when adults lie. And we cannot afford to lose trust. We have to build trust. And the other thing is this. Trust is a matter also of trusting our youth as well. To tell us what they need, you know? Tell us, like, you know, how things are really happening at the school level.
No, we just left.
Tell us, you know, everything that is going on, maybe in their homes, to have those trusted adults. So we're talking about the importance of representation as well. Like, we need to have people representing that actually connect with the stories of these youth.
Indeed.
Oh, the page? The page?
Oh, she's a member of the school board.
I'm on the board, but Reverend Paul Scott is also on Facebook too. So you can follow. Alexandra is my name, Alexandra Valladares. Yeah, thank you for. So nice to meet you too. So do you want to come over here for a second?
Not right now.
Okay, so what we're doing is I'm telling folks about an event on June 17th from 1 to 4, talking about gun violence, but also talking about how do we listen to youth better. You know, we want to be able to hear the voices. So we could come up with solutions all day long, and our solutions, if they're detached from what the kids are saying, we're not going to go anywhere. It's just going to be another meeting, another thing, check the box. No, we don't want to check the box. Like, literally, like, the kids, like, the youth, the young adults, like, there are a lot of things that are affecting. And sometimes it's a matter of, like, we were just talking about anger. Like, when you're angry, a lot of things start happening with anger, right? What happens with anger?
It just bottles up, and then, you know, they be wanting to burst, and let their anger out on something.
You want to say this on Facebook?
You want to come join me? Come join me. Come on, and then we'll share with you. Okay, you good.
We can do it some other time.
We do it some other time, yeah. But you're right. It's like bottled up. A lot of so the term displaced anger came up from a youth who actually survived gunshots, got shot multiple times, and is now like has a disability, can't, you know, is blind, can't taste, can't smell, and my heart breaks because I know this young man from before.
I know some people that got shot like that too. Like, it's part of going on too. But it shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be like that. Talking about a young person for the rest of their life can't even see light. There's no light perception. There's no shadow.
Certain people got to start reacting over certain words another way.
That's deep. That's true.
If somebody don't put their hands on them, like, they shouldn't be trying to put their hands on them.
That's right.
And that's like part of the problem.
Like you think it's like violence enacted on the youth is violence that it's kind of like the law of physics, right? Like for everything there's an opposite, like a reaction, right? You put oppression going one way, it's gonna come back, right? People don't want to know about the crimes that are happening in Durham, but they don't want to hear about the ways that we have been oppressing on the kids. I'm not afraid to say it.
Because once you apply pressure on something, it's just go keep pushing.
He's building.
Yeah.
That's real. See, I'm interested in these conversations, and I know the June 17th event is going to be one event, But I'm interested in being out here and really listening, because at the end of the day, like, we have to address these issues, right? And so, right now, I was just hearing and learning a little bit more about the conversation, and I need to do more research. But kids on bikes, like, why not let the kids, use their bikes and figure out places where they can, have fun. And if it's a dirt bike, use dirt bikes. Like, we don't have things for teenagers. Like, my kids go to Hillside.
Let's put this in context while we're rolling.
Yeah.
For those, you heard about for those who are listening, what we're talking about is the young people on the dirt bikes, and they went up 200 deep. They rode, they've been letting the kids on the dirt bikes ride, and the police are just not, doing anything to them. Now they're arresting them, like, starting today.
Hey, I don't want to believe that. They shouldn't be doing that.
It just started today. They've been letting them do it. Let me flip it. They've been letting these kids ride these dirt bikes. It's been an unspoken rule that you can do it, we ain't gonna mess with you. They've been riding every day. Now they saying it's just starting today.
They just put it on the news like yesterday when they was riding over 100 bikes riding around the city.
But now they trying to put people in jail. They got them on video, and now they're going back to put them in jail.
See, and them ones not even hurting people.
And they ain't even hurting people.
Now it's gonna make them want to figure something else out to do.
Something else to do, and it's at the end of the day, the youth need space to
more,
process, right?
And we need more resources.
More resources.
Like dealing with food and everything.
Food insecurity, but also like trauma. Like when you've been afraid your whole life, you try to defeat fear with adrenaline. There are a lot of kids who will they'll do dares. You put them up to something, they will do it because they want to prove they're not afraid, because it's something that did make them afraid. And we got to get to those root causes. What is making our kids afraid in the first place? And it happens when they're young.
And they might already be on the edge of life, thinking about life and everything like that. And they trying to figure out how to lose that edge in a way while doing a certain thing.
Lose that edge.
And it be hard sometimes when you can't find that certain thing that they be passionate about.
Do you know how much our policy would be affected? Your voice is so important. You've dropped some nuggets. You've been dropping some deep nuggets. I'm telling you, like, just this moment, I didn't even know. And when you when you just came up here, like, I had no idea like what you were gonna say. I'm like looking at Reverend Paul doing this work and trying to have these conversations. There is such an opportunity for us. Everybody who's in leadership needs to hear you.
Right, so looks can be deceiving with a lot of people sometimes.
Well, that's the thing. We got to know that.
It's because of the oppressed stuff that was happening before like that.
Yeah.
It be so much like you never know who gonna do what. No matter how anybody dressed or anything like that.
It don't matter.
Feel me? They can look like $1 million all the way.
That's right. And there's multiple different ways of being rich. You know what I mean? Like, there are people who will look rich. Like, I'm talking about.
Everybody rich from the day they
Everybody's
born.
rich from the day. Yes, that's right.
So it's like
that's right.
You gotta keep the resources up behind that stuff.
And there's wisdom too. Let me tell you something. Like, we are all a product of lineages that are rich and deep. And you don't even know, like, who's your great. You don't know all that lineage. You map that root and that tree. All the way back. All the way back to kingdom.
To Mother Nature.
That's right.
Mother God.
Abundance. You know what I mean? So
be fruitful and multiply and everything.
That's right.
It's one of the verses in the Bible too.
It is a verse. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And there's also, I don't know how the verse goes because I don't know it. Like, I'm not going to quote it, but there's something about the knowledge of this world. Like, sometimes you can't tap into like the real knowledge because sometimes people think they know it all, but there's such knowledge.
Reading that I gotta understand.
Yes. Like what you just dropped right now, I'm telling you, like the ways you talk about it and you can understand. Like, I just had to mention anger. You were like, and you just spelled it out. You just talked about it, right?
I know that probably everybody had those days. Sometimes like they just wake up in the morning and be like, I don't want to deal with this other job, and I already gotta feed myself, and I already gotta make
the worries too.
Yeah, like, and then when you don't even want to worry about it, like
you want to tune out. You want to zone out from all this because it just hurts a lot. Because what you find is a lack of village. Like, who are you going to go to? Like, if in a lot of the cultures, I'll tell you, like, I reminisce of like the cultures that are really about a village. Like, if you needed sugar, you needed flour, what you need? You You need something, you know what I mean? If I'm cooking, I'm gonna make some extra food, and we're gonna feed. We're all gonna eat. You know what I mean? Maybe you have food tomorrow. I got food today. We don't have that concept of a village. In Durham, we do not. Many of our kids don't have. Like, how many adults do you have personally that you can go to when you need something?
Not too many I can count on like that. Not too many like that. Those ones that I could count on like that, they showed me like another route on their ends, dealing with everything, dealing with knowledge and all that stuff.
That's right.
So like I can spread that same love and that same joy on the next person.
That's powerful. And I also respect the work of Reverend Paul Scott because he's about knowledge. He's a man of knowledge. He's a man that, you know, is changing a lot of the narratives.
Because I got one of his books off him one day.
What book did you get?
It was an African history book.
Yeah.
Because I had wanted to share my knowledge a certain way with the next person. And I didn't write my book down yet, nothing like that. So I used that book and keep it in the room. So if anybody that come in the room or something like that can read it.
They see the book.
You need another one?
He's got some good ones in the book bag.
Not today. Because I don't want to be doing too much in that room right now like that. I mean, it's my space and everything like that, but
I got you.
I don't want to leave too much in there right now. Like, I don't want to drop too much knowledge on them over there. Because I already spoke a lot to them, about a lot of stuff. It's like, they got to start with that book first.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But, you know, your practice is also, like, you know, there's something about how it integrates into your body. So the point is that the word becomes spirit, like life, you know, like you hear about the word becoming spirit and life. And you read it from the book. It comes off the book, but it doesn't stay there. Once it becomes integrated, and then you have to have you start to see it when the word becomes life in your life. You know what I mean? And then you're the living word. Like, you know, who's gonna take that book from you? Who's gonna take that knowledge from you?
Because when I gave you the book, I probably asked you to teach what you learned in that book to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad you did it. Appreciate it. That's how this thing
works.
works.
I've always been like that. Like, on the Egyptians and all those. And then learning how Asia connected with the Egyptians.
I gave you your last.
No, it was African history.
African history.
Oh, yeah.
Yup. Not too big, not too small, but over 100 pages.
I remember.
300 pages.
Powerful. And you know, we need to have more of the educators like that. I'd love for Reverend Paul Scott to be, you know, in our schools. Like, you know what I mean? Our kids need to see these examples of people who are like invest in the kids, take time to give books, to share knowledge, you know, to hear you, to listen. I mean, I'm gonna carry you with me. Like, you know, I really do hope that, you know, I get to see you and hear from you more. I want to hear what you have to say. What you shared today is just beautiful. It's profound. It's powerful because it comes from lived experience. You know what people were telling me when I was running, and they're like, they thought I was beneath. They thought I was like, you know, I don't have the money, I don't have the class, I don't have the whatever intellectual intelligentsia, kind of like I don't know, these people with privilege, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't know that the knowledge that I have comes from lived experience and also tapping into who I am and who my people are, and knowing like that people may treat us wrong, but at the end of the day we learn. You know what I mean? And we're in tune with nature too. You know, there's a natural order to things, and I've always loved science because when I think about it, it's like there's such wisdom. Keep in mind, like already, like the conditions are showing. Like you see all the green trees, but you know when the seasons start coming in the fall, the amount of light affects how the leaves absorb, like the photosynthesis, like that process of like the plants making food. The diminished light causes these leaves to change color. So the diminished light, like where are we not, when we start seeing kids and the leaves turning, and we're starting to see them that they're not engaged anymore, they don't want to be in school anymore, they don't want to do anything. We're blaming the kids, and we're not looking at the conditions. Like, how has the light been diminished for these kids? Where did the light go out? Who said something to them? Who said something to you? Who said something to me? Who said something to us to tell us that this is not a place for us?
That's because in the beginning, all the schools wasn't a place for everybody like that. They was just using it as another daycare type stuff to, you know, get the next person out your hair type stuff. So it's like, they supposed to have prepared them for different jobs and stuff like that.
Factory, like industrial complex, right? For the factories,
for all the food to keep being processed, and you know, we need people to work on people if somebody gets sick or hurt. Somebody just put a band-aid on sometime, or somebody, you know, food be the important thing, the healers be the important thing, and the the spiritual teachings of your ancestors is important.
Yes.
Everything else in the middle of it is meaningless.
How can people not see the wealth? You know what I mean?
They broke the schools down into all these other categories that they don't gotta survive for. But they made it seem like they gotta survive for it by the jobs they created.
Well, they created dependence. You know, when I traveled, there was a time I traveled to Puerto Rico, and those people were talking about, part of the Puerto Rican liberation movement is like they don't want to be dependent on U.S. importations. Yeah, it's like we're a part of the U.S., but we're not treated like a part of the U.S.
Because it's part of the trade.
The trades, yeah.
The trade, the sell trade.
So when Hurricane Maria ravaged the whole land of Puerto Rico, like there were a lot of gallons of water that were dropped in the middle of nowhere where people couldn't access them. That's what the U.S. did. That's what they just dropped those gallons right in the middle of rivers and everything, and then they went bad. And the folks had to learn. I actually went to a place that was like in a mountain. They were so like the water was so high, the bridges there was no a bridge to nowhere because they were like kind of isolated. They figured out how to like barter, how to like start cultivating their own things. And there's a movement and a powerful movement where people are growing their own food because they're saying this is power. If I can grow my own food and I don't need to be dependent on these grocers and these companies, like that's power. I can go to my own land or my own place and pick up my own, food and survive, right? So there's a movement of black farmers also trying to tap into that, how to grow your own food. And Durham is there's definitely like quite a movement happening, and a lot of people are starting to look at that connection with land because it reminds them of like ancestors and how they did it. They didn't have to do all these things. And I'm not saying walk out of the system. In reality, we have this relationship where we engage systems because we have to. Because survival does depend on that. You need to pay your taxes, and you need to do this, and you need to do that, all that stuff, because the system wants you to be a participant in it. But also there's a sense of power that innately comes, like you said, it's an innate sense of power that we have to like talk about who we really are, show that, we're not as dependent as people want us to be.
Because they want, they making all these materials and everything every day. You got all the different type of cars and stuff. And the person that made the cars and make the cars, they gonna want something in return. And it's like, whatever they got to get in return, they probably want something else too.
Yeah, the strings. There's strings to everything. But you're definitely a leader. And I'm pretty sure you've heard it, but I'm telling you, you are a leader. Just your experiences, your ability to keep going. So yeah, I'm really honored, and this is a gift. Can't buy this gift, you know what I mean? To have authentic conversations like this, like you're transforming me, and we're all like sharing in this, and we're learning from one another, and we're seeing each other, and that's the most. I want our kids to feel seen.
That's how it's supposed to be. It's
supposed to be like that. No judgment, no looking down on anybody, because you don't know like folks don't know, like I have kids, I'm a mother, so that you're hearing the mother side of me. I've been hurt when they treat my kids any kind of way. They treat them any way. They look at my daughter. My daughter has tattoos. You know what I mean? And she's gone through.
A stereotype by a lot of people.
It's a lot of stereotypes.
And
a lot.
No matter if she got them or not, like she gonna be placed in the category and put in the category.
She's a very strong young lady.
That's good.
She's 18, and I am just proud of her. She's graduating. But she has gone through a lot. Our story is not as simple as it is. It has not been a walk in the park. It has been struggle after struggle, but I'm gonna see her graduate. And you know what I'm gonna do? When I see her walk that stage, it ain't no board member in there. I'm gonna be a mother. And I'm gonna be like, excuse me, I'm sorry. I will let the superintendent do what he does, but I'm gonna be right there, like, give it here. It has been a journey. As a mother, my heart breaks because some of the kids don't make it to that. It's not a finish line. It's not the only finish line. There's many other finish lines. So even if it takes, whatever time it takes kids, if it's at 18, great. If it's at 19, 20, 21, we have to offer free and public education, a free and appropriate public education up until the age of 21. So you could potentially be almost 22.
Age they want to start learning, like talking about, every day person to learn something else. And it's like they mainly need, they just mainly need the things like to know like how to survive life.
That's right.
Because life is a long journey.
It's a long journey.
It's over 100 years.
And trees don't always grow at the same rate. You know, some oak trees take some time. You know what I mean? Apple trees can take 20 years. Some apple trees can take a long time. Some trees take a year. You know what I mean? But in reality, is one tree better than the other because of time? The fruit, you can taste the fruit, and the fruit is like, it's worth it. So just keep it up. I'm so honored, and thank you for stopping by. I definitely, yes, like Reverend Paul Scott, you know, like as many times as I can come out here or whatever, you know, I want to continue to kind of see you in your leadership journey. I believe in your leadership, and I want to hear from you. Yeah.
Oh, you can get my number.
Yeah, and my phone number is public.
Alright.
My name is public. You know, my address is public. My phone number is public.
On the school board.
I'm on the school board, so all you got to do is go on the Durham Public Schools page. There's a board member tab, and then you see all the board members, and go to the Alexandra Valladares. Yeah. What's your name?
DeMonte.
Demonte. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Did I give you my social media last time?
I got your Instagram.
Yeah, Black Messiah Movement. Yeah. I thought it
I
did.
didn't get to follow you yet. I ain't follow you yet up there.
Oh, okay.
That might be what I need to do for it.
Black Messiah Movement. And
This is amazing. This is rich.
but what I started doing, I think I met you over in the parking lot. But what I started doing, I started posting up every day, every Monday through Friday. I'm usually about 5 o'clock over there bus stop. About 5 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday.
I do be seeing you every now and then when I walk up. You be reading the books and something.
He's got a lot of good books. Yes. Yeah.
You said Black Disciple Movement.
Yep, that's all social media.
You know what he did? You know, he came to the school board and he kind of let us know, y'all sleeping on this. he literally came to speak truth. He's like, you know that bill, you know, so HB 187.
They're trying to ban Black History Month in schools.
And he told us to get on it because I mean, there are things that even making a statement is powerful and is important. So we wrote a resolution, but it was Minister Paul Scott who came in and told us, like, y'all are sleeping on it. Get to it, like write it up. And so I was like, yep, we will. And you know, started writing it up, ran it by my colleagues, ran it by Reverend Paul Scott, and you know, many other people that I trust as well. Like, what do you think about this? And we passed it. But you know, we're here in Durham, and then at the state level, that's when also, you know, these folks were passing. Oh my gosh, this.
Oh yeah, it's countrywide right now. What's your name?
Oh, here. Yeah, so
it's countrywide, like it's all over the world, like it's a global phenomenon right now, and it's like the celebrities get more into it because they know it's just another job what they doing, and they gotta wake up every day like the next person.
Yeah.
So everybody around the world like really trying to get on this thing. And every chance I get, when I get a chance to one-on-one conversation with somebody about some stuff.
That's how we gotta do it, man. Because when I gave you that book, that's why I said, whatever you learn in that book, just teach it to somebody else, and that's how it goes.
share the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will. I'm gonna lock you in on this phone later. Gotta pay my bill. Use the Wi-Fi for this.
If you want to come to the June 17th event, let me know. You know, there's going to be a lot of people from Duke, a lot of people from like the health department, from DPS. I'd love for them to hear you.
I might try to talk to you sometime too.
Yeah,
Just conversate.
Again, it doesn't have to be at that event. I'm available to just, you know, talk to you and
then I can work my way over there.
Yeah. Well, you let us know. I mean, I haven't figured out, like, maybe I can talk to Minister Paul Scott. I call you Minister Reverend.
Paul, you know Paul.
Because, you know, one of my things is, like, I don't have no problem with speaking in front of big crowds like that. But it's like when you're speaking about a lot of politician stuff, a lot of stuff that can just change the whole system that was just built to keep people down. And those that's in power to still keep people down, no matter what certain people say, is just they got too much money right now. I don't want to say it's too much, like they got a lot of power right now, and they be the ones assassinating certain leaders and stuff like that, doing certain things. So I'll be like, when the leaders really know what they know, speaking up with certain things, they gotta do it a certain way and stuff like that, just so they won't get assassinated nowadays.
That's true. A lot of people don't. It's like speaking up could be harmful. Could put you at risk. We just talked about, like, you know, Minister Paul was telling me, like,
it's a worthy sacrifice, but it's like
it's a sacrifice.
Because you ain't doing it for you, you're doing it for your children,
the community,
for you, for your children, for your grandchildren. So they'll look back and say, you know, my daddy did this, my grandfather did that. So yeah, because we all got to leave this earth somewhere. People fall in the bathtub and break their necks every day. At least if you die, Fred Hampton. Look up Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton. You ever seen the movie
I might catch that bus.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's a good
Do we need to hold it for you? I mean, it's good seeing you. Oh yes.
It's good seeing you too.
We'll be in touch, okay?
All right, brother. Good talking to
he
you.
left you, right? No.
Yeah.
What an incredible
All right.
young man.
See, and there you have it in Durham, organically.
What an incredible young man.
I think you gave a good lecture to the community through that young man, but is there anything else you want to add before we?
Oh, my heart is just so full. Like, please, y'all, support the work of the people at the roots of like working with the grassroots. I mean, we have so much money that goes in so many different directions, but we're talking about where do you see these kind of transformative conversations? Reverend Minister Paul Scott.
Paul is fine.
I'm just letting y'all know, like, there is definitely a lot that we could learn as leaders, and y'all, we need to support this work. I'm telling you that I have been watching you for a long time do this. From the time, you know, even with my community in McDougal Terrace, like, the ways that there are folks who come in for a season and all that, but you're consistent, you know?
And the one reason I want to invite you out, and I like to invite people out, you know, because people ask me, well, do people, how you know they read the books? Are you really out there in the street? So I say, I can show you better than I can tell you.
Yeah.
So that's why I like people to come out and see for themselves.
These kids we're talking today, we talked to many of them who are like, they're finishing the book, and they're talking about how they don't even let other people take that book, you know what I mean? Like, but they share the knowledge, but then they're like, some people ain't ready for this, right? And they need to start. It's like they're already talking about a journey. Like they're talking about the ways that they're approached knowledge and like how important the book is. And you talk about the title. Like, I was listening to all these conversations, like just sitting there and just appreciating the power of books, the power of knowledge, but also the power of relationship, because these young people have relationships with Minister Paul Scott. They have relationships of trust. See, they don't listen to just anybody. Kids know who's about it and who's not. So they stop by, whether they're coming from the store, they were coming from the Dollar General, and you know they had bags in hand, that they had heavy bags or they had heavy things on their hand, and they will stop and talk to Reverend Paul Scott, and they were just saying, you know, talking about the book and talking about the next book and connecting that to movies they've watched, because you know there are some good movies out there. There's a lot of movies that are programming and doing all kinds of things that, you know, are affecting people, but there are some good movies out there from people who are trying to send a message through art. And so I just want to let the youth know that in whatever ways you come to this June 17th event. If you don't want to come to the June 17th event, don't come. But again, come meet. You know, I want to be accessible. I want to hear from y'all. Talk to Reverend Paul Scott. Talk to Minister Paul Scott. Share with him. I'm in community. I'm accountable to him. Leaders like him, I want to hear what they have to say. I want to know, because my ability to do my work on the board for the remaining time till 2024 in July is about really listening and really taking to heart, like, what am I missing? I can't do it alone. No, we cannot do this alone. I'm already like maxed out of talking, but I'm just appreciative. I hope y'all feel my gratitude in my heart. We got a lot of work to do in Durham to love on these kids. We got to love on them like we've never loved on them before. We got to support them like we've never supported them before. We've got to leave all the stereotypes and the negativity and the cursing, because we don't really know how those curses are affecting our kids. And you may say you're not cursing kids, but if you're saying negativity, you're stereotyping them, you're diminishing their value and their humanity, that's a curse. You're setting these kids up for failure instead of success. We have to believe in the brilliance of our kids. We have to listen. We have to give them what they haven't gotten. And more than ever, you know, build ways of our own, make ways. In what ways? If it's not done, do it. You know, just like Minister Paul Scott, there's nobody sitting in that bench by the bus stop coming Oxford Manor. Who else is coming, you know?
Right.
So he's like, he's going to build it. He's going to do it. And there's a community, a beautiful community here. So a lot of love to the Oxford Manor community, to the North Durham community, on Dearborn, the Dearborn community, the Lakeview School that is so close here, you know, the Lakeview Church, you know, Miss Vanessa Evans in Bragtown, you know, Helena Craig here on Dearborn. I'm just sending a lot of love to all the people who are, you know, in this community and trying to do the best that they can with the resources that they have, with their will and their power, but most of all with their love. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And any other elected officials, this is where the change starts, right here. And we appreciate you coming through. And if you want to talk to me, meet me in the hood. You'll be all right.
That's right.